In this video, I'm going to present 3 simple steps for creating an orienteering map using OpenOrienteering Mapper. These steps are first to download your base maps or background maps, otherwise known as templates in OpenOrienteering Mapper. We'll then import those maps that we need to help us draw our orienteering map, and then we'll go through and draw some symbols for creating our map. So let's go ahead and get started with going through these steps. Download 3 types of maps. One is a street map. Number 2, I'm going to download a topographic map, and then an orthographic aerial photo. So let's go ahead and get to the street map. So I have some mapping websites that I have here. First, I'm going to go to openstreetmap.org. That's where I'm going to get my street map. And the area I'm going to focus on is this Maydale Conservation Park. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and export this map, and it's going to take the map area I have here. I'll click on the export button, and I'll save it to a directory. So I should have an orienteering maps folder, example, and we're focusing on the Maydale Conservation area. So this is an OSM file, which I'll be able to import into OpenOrienteering Mapper. So, okay, I go ahead and have that file saved. I want to have a topo map. So again, I'm going to go to my favorites here. And I'm going to go to the nationalmap.gov website. And I'm going to go to this area in the Washington, D.C. area. So I'm going to scroll in so I can download. In fact, I want this Beltsville topo map. The area I'm interested in is right here. This is that Maydale conservation area. So I know that's the area I want. So I'm going to go over here to find products. There's one result, and it's the Beltsville USGS 7.5 minute topo map. So I'll go ahead, add that to my cart, and actually just download it. So we'll go ahead and download that map. When I download the topo map, it opens up in my browser. I actually need to save that to my hard drive. So I'll go ahead and give this a name. This is the Beltsville topo. I would like to point out on the lower left-hand part of the map, it does tell us that what the UTM zone is. And so for this Beltsville map, it's 18S. And so that'll be important when I start importing these my maps into OpenOrienteering Mapper. Now I'm finally going to go and go to Earth Explorer. So this is Earth Explorer, usgs.gov. And this is where I'm going to get my ortho aerial photographs of the site. And again, now I get to this Maydale nature area that I'm interested in. What I'm going to do is place some points on the map in this vicinity where I want to get some information. So this is the area where I want to see about some aerial imagery. With that selected, I'm going to select the data sets. I'm going to go to aerial imagery, and I'm interested in the ortho imagery. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'll scroll down and go to the results. And now I have a series of ortho imagery that are available to me, and I can select on this little show. It's a little image to actually show that map on where it crosses my boundary, so I can make sure I only download the maps that imagery that I want. So looks to me like I want that. Covers a big portion of the area I'm interested in, so I do want that. Ortho imagery. And I think there, that's the second. So I want those two ortho imagery, so I'm going to download those. And so as soon as I get those downloaded, there'll be zip files. I'll need to unzip those in the folder where they're downloaded. Ortho imagery downloaded now, and these compressed zip files loaded now. I'm going to unzip these the imagery. So I'm going to extract those files here at this location. Extracting those files, I have this folder, this Maryland MD folder. I can go through and look at the images in volume 1. These are the two images that I have, so they're there for me. And the other piece of information that is valuable is in this index. If I open up the Montgomery, Maryland 2014 QA report, and there it tells me that the pixel size is 6 inches, so that's an important piece of information to have. Now we're ready to start importing these files into OpenOrienteering Mapper. So open up OpenOrienteering Mapper, and I'll go to the templates and open a template. And I know I have those in the OpenOrienteering maps, and then that the street map I downloaded from the openstreet.org is this maydelconservation.osm file. So I'm going to go ahead and import that and say yes, it's geo-referenced. And I'm going to select the UTM coordinates. And from the topo map I looked at, the zone is 18S. So I place that there. And then I can also, one other thing I want to get is the declination for this location, so I can look that up. That's going to take me to a website, and I can see that the declination is 10.92 degrees for this location. So I can go back to Open Map Maker. So this is going to rotate my map a little bit. 0.92. And I can go ahead and import that. And so now we have the map that the street map that I wanted. And the area that I'm interested in, and I can pan over. This is the area that I'm interested in here. This is the conservation area. Okay, so that's the first map I want to import. I'm going to go ahead and import the ortho imagery. So I'll select my first ortho image. And previously I looked at I found out that the map, these ortho images, that each pixel is 6 inches. And 6 inches has to be 0.1524 meters. So that's how I'm going to say that I have that many meters per pixel. And I can open up that map and it should be the right size. One thing I need to do is I'll need to rotate a little bit to have the right declination that lines up with my base, my Mandel conservation map that I imported. So to do that, I select on this templates window to the right, select the image I imported, select edit and positioning, and with that I can position that at 10.91 degrees, and then I can move it to the right location. In order to get the ortho image to line up with the base map, I'm going to select that in the template area. I'll select this panning tool, and that will allow me to just move that background image. Let me try that again. And so there's my curved road. I'll zoom in here, pan a little bit again, come down, and just get things lined up the way I want them. And having this ortho imagery will allow me to draw in where these water bodies are in the right location. as well as other features that are important for my orienteering map. So that's the first image. We'll go ahead and do that again for the second image. Okay. Zoom in to make sure I'm happy with where everything's at. And it looks it's looking pretty good. Okay. The last thing we want to do before we start drawing our orienteering map is I want to get the topo map in here so that I can draw in topo lines in the Maydale conservation area where I'm going to put some orienteering markers. Putting my topo map in here is maybe not the best, but I'm going to open up a viewer to look at the PDF of the topo map that I want. And I'm just going to save a JPEG of this image in the area that I am interested in. So I'm going to zoom out. Okay, I know here's this area that I want. Now I can zoom back into that area. Okay. And I'm just going to take an image. I'm just going to get an image of my screen and save that as a PNG file. Okay. So I'm going to just use the snipping tool. Grab that area. That's the area I want. I'll go ahead and save that in my folder. Orienteering maps example. And just call it topo map. So now I have that. I'll go back to OpenOrienteering. And I'll go ahead and import. I'm sorry, we'll go back to the templates and bring that image in. There's my topo map. Right now, I don't know what the right size is, so I'm just going to bring it in, and then I'll change the size to get it to the right size once we have that image in. I need to select this pan tool here. That will help me out. Get that selected. Now I can also edit that map. And I'm going to orient this 10.91 degrees. And then I'll just start playing with the size. And one thing I might do too is over here you can see that we have the opacity, and I can change the opacity of that so I can still see that image, and I can maybe turn off the other images so I can only see what I want to see at the opacity I want to help me get things lined up. I ended up with a scale of 0.225 in X and Y for this topo map, and you can see now that I end up with using the opacity about 30% on the topo map. I have my Maydale conservation map, the street map that I brought in at full 100% opacity, and that way I can you can see I've got my streets lined up from the topo map and the street map. Now I have all my maps in place. I'm ready to start drawing my orienteering map. In this view, I have my aerial imagery turned on. I have the topo map turned on, but I've reduced the opacity to 35%. And I can see that the roads from my topo map are lining up with the aerial ortho imagery. So I think I have everything in place. And to to begin drawing. At this point in time, and unless I want to start putting in, if I want to put in house locations to help out so that as my orienteering, the guys that I have doing orienteering are in the park and they can orient themselves even with the houses. The ortho imagery will help me put those houses in. But for right now, I just want to get the topography in and possibly the stream. But at least for the topography, I'm just going to turn the other maps off and I'll just have my topo map on. And I can put both the roads and the topo lines in. And so for the roads, these just residential streets. For now, I'm just going to use this minor road symbol. I'll go here and make sure that my draw paths button is selected, and I can go ahead and zoom in and draw in my streets. I can be as detailed as I want with how many points I place in. Okay. So I'm just using the left mouse button for each click, and then my final click, I'll use the right mouse button, and that will end my line. So I have a couple of streets in here. Now I want to put in a topo line. I want to start off with an index contour. So I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to pan over so I get in the place that I want to be. And I can see that this contour is at an elevation of 400 feet. So I want to put this is the Maydale Conservation Area right in here. I want to have that topo line in. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing that topo line in. Again, I'm not going to get too detailed here. Just illustrate placing the line in here. So that's, I'll call this good enough for now. You can see I have my topo line in here and I want to put that contour value there. And so I can go ahead and place my value 400 there. I can now go and select the 101 contour and do my other contour lines. And I'd be a little more detailed if I were wanting to make a good map. So we get our contour lines in. I can, again, bring in the, if I want to get some other pieces of information in, I can bring my images in, and I can see this stream coming through. And so I can put my stream in. So that's where I'm going to use the ortho imagery to get some of the other information I want in my orienteering map. Okay, so we get the streams in. If I want this water body in right there, so we can draw on the water bodies. I'm going to zoom in on this one. So I have some water bodies in here, and I can keep drawing in various symbols for all the information that I want on my map. If I want to demonstrate, have some houses in here, I can draw those in as well. Okay. And then Eventually I'll turn off all the templates I have and just keep the map, and I'll eventually have a nice orienteering map I can use for the activity I'm planning. After a little bit of work, this is where I'm at. Still have a little bit more to do, but this gives you an idea of what the orienteering map will look like after having worked on it for a bit.